Hello and welcome to the Sunbirdcrochet podcast. My name is Claudia and I'm coming to you from Germany. Today is Saturday, the 25th of March 2023, and I'm sitting here in my sitting room again. It's already dark outside, but I thought if I don't come to you now, it will take another week before I can record anything. So here I am. I've put on some twinkling lights up there. Right there behind me is my working light for when I'm sitting here crocheting or watching TV or doing some weaving in ends, knitting, you name it. This is actually the spot where I like to sit and relax and do my crafting, and that's also why the light is behind me, which is worse for my face, but yeah, I hope it works anyway. Today I'm wearing my one and only finished object, about which I will talk in a second. And apart from that, there isn't much else I can talk to you about crafty related. There is some incoming and some news off the top of my head. I will try to think of everything which is on my mind and which I remember, and most of all, there are 3 parcels which finally all arrived at their recipients, and I'm really mighty glad that they did and that everyone was happy with what they've got. I was sitting here for a couple of weeks. Fingers crossed, I hope they will like what they get. So yes, it all arrived. So shall we start with my finished object? This is another Squidge shawl. Let me take it off. I've made one for Marta, and Marta is sent off today my socks. The socks which she knitted for me. Thank you, Marta. I can't wait to wear them. But obviously I will have to show them here before putting them on my feet, because I want them to be in their pristine condition so that you can see the lovely crafting and knitting by Marta. Thank you. So I sent Marta a Squidge shawl in return for her knitting project, and also 2 other items. One shawl which I've shown, it's the Jane shawl, my own design, with some special fringe or border. I can't remember where I've got that from. I've got my notes somewhere about it, but off the top of my head I can't remember. It was all Advent minis by Biff Sugar Yarns, or was it Beehive Yarns? I always mix the 2 of them up. You know, like mixing up Glenn Close and Angelica Houston. I always mix those 2 up. And just some, tangent. Sorry. Anyway, I've made the Squidge shawl a couple of times, and it's a really nice shawl for making your yarn shine, taking the center place on stage. And for my Squidge, I'm not sure if you can see this, it's a mustache shawl, asymmetrical, and you start here on the tip. I've shown it to you, the orange version for Marta in my last episode. So you're starting here at the top, you're decreasing on this side, increasing on this side, so it's growing in this shape. Let me see, in this shape. So back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and you're increasing on this side more than you're decreasing on this side, which means that your whole shawl grows. And then at the final point, this is the last row from the little tip of your triangle to the other end of the shawl. So one side, this is the shawl, and this side is all made up of your last row. And I saw that Marta was wearing her shawl here on the shoulder, which you obviously can. You can do that when you're wearing a nice summer dress. This would be lovely. I like to wear my shawl. I don't put the tip in the middle. I put it a little bit to the side, like this. And then I have these two ends, basically the same length. And this is just a little shawlette shawl to keep you warm and cozy, and I love it. It's a free pattern by Glenda Howell, and I've linked it in my last episode already, I believe. And if I remember, I will put the link again down in the description of this episode. Highly recommend this pattern. It's easy. I memorized it after like 3 or 4 rows, and it's a very relaxing crochet project, also for a beginner. I've made my first Squidge shawl during the first year of starting crochet. Yes. So this is already my one and only finished object for this episode. I've still got plenty of whips. I've got my ranunculus sweater, which is a knitting project, and I've got my chrysalis throw. I was contacted on Ravelry. Someone asked me which colors I was using, which yarn, and let me just grab the throw so that I can tell you about it. You see, all of this is in reach so that I can grab it and work on it. This is my ranunculus, and this is my chrysalis throw. So here I go, showing it to you yet again. But just in case you're interested in these colors here, which colors I was using. What I'm working on now, they're all from Hobby Yarn Amigo. There you go. I fixed the focus on my face, so it won't focus on it. Anyhow, this is, I think that was Peaches, color 46. Then we've got color 37. One of them was called Sunflowers. This might be Sunflowers, I'm not sure at the moment. Then we've got some pale yellow. I don't have that much left. It's color number 35. But as I said, I've bought all these colors from Hobby, and Hobby is a Danish company, I believe. It's 100% acrylic, quite reasonable in price, but I am planning to use up my acrylic and not buying acrylic yarn anymore. They are quite practical for frozen blankets which you want to wash, but they're obviously not biodegradable, so environmentally not friendly. I haven't made much progress here on my blanket at the moment. looking at the blanket, this was the Hobby Yarn Amigo, but the lighter blue is actually Stylecraft Special DK in colorway Duck Egg Blue, that I remember. And this was also another, this color here, this very bright coral, pinky, neon. That was also one of the Amigo Hobby colors. I'm sure you can find them all on their website. Yeah. I haven't started the new pattern, the blanket pattern by Jen Tyler, who is the designer of this blanket. I've bought the pattern, but I haven't started yet because obviously I have too many whips already. So that's that. Let me show you some incoming yarn. I've been to Munster last weekend, or not a whole weekend, just we went there on Friday and came back on Saturday afternoon. We stayed there for one night in a lovely hotel at the lake Veasee, which is the lake, the local lake. And it was a lovely hotel run by the Studierendenwerk, which is an association looking after university campus, guest houses, and Mensa, like food, the cafe, and all these kind of things. So they have their own hotel, and it was really very nice hotel. I had a double bed, like all by myself with a nice view onto the lake, and breakfast was lovely. And I will add some footage. I took a lot of video footage during the trip, and I will cut it. I already posted it. It's now an unlisted video here on YouTube, but I think because there is my sister and my brother-in-law on the video, so I will just cut it a little bit and I will add it to the end of this episode. How about that? For once, I won't bore you too much, and yeah, it's just a little bit of impressions from Munster, which is a city in Westphalia, and historically interesting. In the town hall there was the end of the 30 Years' War. The treaty was signed in the town hall there, one of the treaties. So historically very interesting. I actually went to the town hall, into the hall, in the room where they signed this and discussed it obviously beforehand, and that was in the 17th century, so 1600 and something. And I've got the brochure here as well, so I can just before we will reach the end of the episode, I will go through these brochures as well. But coming back to yarn, while I was in Munster, I also went to a wool shop, and even though I wasn't very impressed by the customer service, they were all rather snobbish and only had yarn by two companies, which is commercial yarn. It was Lana Grossa and Lang Yarns, both lovely yarn companies and yarns, but nothing really. It wasn't like I could buy some signature yarn from Minster or the areas, surrounding areas. So it was just generic commercial yarn. I believe Lana Grossa is from Italy and Lang Yarn is either Swiss or German. I'm not sure. One or the other. However, I bought some Lana Grossa yarn, and I am planning to use it for a shawl. The pattern is in the new Moorit magazine, And this is, by the way, on its way to me already. I hope it will be here with me next week, so I can start on this shawl. I will put the name of the shawl and the designer up here on the screen, and then you can have a look if you want. I will show to you once I've started the project. For now, let me just show you the yarn. So I've bought 3 skeins just in case I would have to pay attention if I would run out of yarn. It's all the same dye lot, which is important, and it's Lana Grossa Gomitolo Collina. It's 72% cotton and 28% viscose. 100 gram equals 260 meters. It calls for a 4 to 4.5 millimeter knitting needles or crochet hook. And yeah, let me just show you without further ado. It's changing colors. Let me see if I can actually focus on this now. There you go. So this is color. I've got 3 of those, all from the same dye lot. It has pink in there, a mustard, a green, and some lilac. So all very much spring colors. And this is what I've bought. The only yarn purchase I've made since last episode. Surprise, surprise. Now, what else did I buy? Since I was already there, here you go. I bought the Knit Pro knitting needle. It's 40 centimeters cable with 4.5 millimeter needles attached. Just some, it says Lana Grossa and made in India actually. It's birchwood and multicolor optic, and it's just a small, a small circumference knitting needles for sleeves and such. I didn't have these kind of needles, but I felt the need for it. They cost me $9.50, I just saw here. So yeah, just some knitting needles for adding sleeves to my projects. That's my purchase from that yarn shop, of which I won't share the name because I don't want to recommend it really. But the yarn is, I love the colors. So also I didn't have much time because my company isn't into knitting or crafting, and I didn't want to stress their patience. What else did I find in Munster? I went to a shop called Dille Kamille. That's how they're called. They are judging from the language on the back of this paper here. I think it's either Dutch or Belgium. They actually have a website, so you can look up what they all offer. It's down here. There. I don't know if that's in focus. There you go. So I went to this shop and I've got little egg cozies. And yes, I can make these myself. These are little prototypes. They will actually be presents for Easter brunch. yeah, so I thought I might create these as well. They are crocheted, so they are handmade in Peru, and very cute. Some embroidered faces, and yes, crochet bunnies, crochet egg cozies. That's what I've bought there. And then in the same shop they had lovely cards and other things. So this is not yarn related, but I couldn't resist because I've bought a pop-up card, a 3D card. It's a swan with a little baby swan here on the back, carrying on the back. And you write on here. I thought this was very interesting. So I will put this card somewhere on my bookshelf. They had so many more lovely cards there. And not just cards, also other items for the kitchen and biological washing liquid and spices, all the kind of things which you can use in the kitchen. I just see that the artist who created this is called Jens Gollnow, and he has his own website. This is made in Germany, and the website is www.gollnow-paper.de. Let me just show it to you here. It's written down there. I don't know if you can focus on this, but this is a lovely creative card. Yeah, so I bought that. Anywho, let me show you next the town hall. This is a pamphlet from the city of Munster, and this is what the town hall looks like in Munster. They have all these buildings in the old part of town. They have these arcades, and I think it's lovely when it's raining. You are still dry because you can walk from one house to the next, covered underneath these arches. And actually we had lovely weather, no need to cover and hide from the rain. But yeah, so you enter the place, and you will see it in my video. You enter this hall here. There is a ship model hanging from the ceiling there, up there. And then you see the peace flag from 1648 hanging up on the wall. You will see that in my video as well. And then I paid €2 to get into the hall where they signed the treaty. So the Peace of Westphalia was signed in 1648, and it was the end of the 30 Years' War. The 30 Years' War was quite simplified a war between Protestants and Catholics in Europe. And it all started with the Prager Fenstersturz, which was an event where someone was pushed out of a window in Prague. Very simply put. Anyhow, so in Munster there is this room, town hall and peace room. The town or the city of Munster was declared neutral ground, and then they It took them until the 24th of October 1648, but that's when it ended. Pax Optima Rerum, 1648. Pax Optima Rerum roughly translates into peace is the highest or the most important thing. Yeah. So the room where it all took place is covered in wood, carvings down here. You will see it on my video. And there are a lot of oil paintings with all the portraits of the participants there. This pamphlet actually tells you who or was there, who is who. Philip IV was there. Maybe I just tell you the nations. There was from Sweden, from Spain, from France, from Bohemia, and Swiss, the Netherlands, obviously German. They all were there, and yeah, I don't want to bore you too much. That's what it looks like. But you can see it in my video at the end of this episode. Then another thing which I saw whilst walking along the streets was old horse carriages which they had turned into electric vehicles. So they just take the old carriages. They're not horse-drawn anymore. Instead, they have an electric motor. And this is how you can do the city tours. Rather funny. And they have actually drinks on board and a guide who will tell you about all the history and stuff. So I thought I took this pamphlet with me for my next visit to Minster. Now, two more things. One is incoming, and the other is here in my hands. It's my progress on my second Battenberg blanket. Should have shown it to you at the whip section, but whatever. I'm not putting the sections up this time. So this is the progress on my Battenberg blanket. It's not that big, but it's growing, as you can see. Rather a muted palette of colors, although that is not gray. You will see in a different light, you will see the colors better. Last but not least, I was given a book. It's a cooking book, a recipe book called A Kitchen Safari, Stories and Recipes from the African Wilderness. There. That was a gift from my mother. She went to a museum in Wuppertal, and I don't know, she must have gotten it from there. They probably had a bookshop, and it's by South African publisher. This is the website up here. Can you see it? Let me try. There. That's the website. And it has lovely photos of the animals in the game and private game reserves. And what I really like also is that it has a feeling of being a personal diary, because look here, there is actually like a parchment with like scribbled notes on them. A recipe for simple beer bread. in mobile safaris oven. 80 grams self-raising flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon brown sugar or white sugar, 1 can of Zambezi lager, so it's a beer, and 1 teaspoon flour for dusting the top, and that's it. Andrew Young metal oven and lid, and there you have like a little drawing how you can make your own safari mobile oven. That's cool. So I really have to, not that I'm going to build myself an oven, but oh, look at this wonderful picture of a leopard. One of the big 5. If you are going on safari in Africa, very touristy thing to go and see if you can see the big 5. The elephant, the leopard, and lion, obviously the rhino. One, help me out, buffalo. This will be something which you all know if you are those of you who are living in South Africa. Cook sisters with dates and halva. So this is a delicacy. It's a syrupy. It's dough. Or it's how do you say it? It's a deep fried dough, which will then be plunged into a cold syrup, and then it's drained on a rag. And it's a very popular dessert. So that's a recipe for that. Then you also get some details about the game reserves in South Africa. This is the Ngala Private Game Reserve, the first private game reserve to be incorporated into the 2 million hectare Kruger National Park. Did I ever tell you that I used to work in South Africa in the tourism business? I was putting together these kind of tours and selling them to customers. So that's rather a nice present for me, this recipe book. This is another lovely, out of a notebook. It says, from Dumi to our maintenance team, the baboons came to the kitchen this morning and broke one of the windows. So you can come and fix it, please. Thanks, Dumi Ndlovu. And then there is a little drawing of a baboon. That's a cheetah, and a beautiful one. I stroked a cheetah. Yes, I did. It was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Can chicks. Season chickens with salt and pepper and olive oil. Open cans of beer. Drink a mouthful of each, or toss out equivalent, and divide bay leaves, cinnamon, coriander, chilies and cumin between the 4 cans. Place the cans on a baking tray and sit a chicken firmly on each can. Roast in a preheated 190 Celsius oven for 35 minutes. Remove from oven and rub with mustard and dukkha spice blend. Cook for another 25 minutes at 170 degrees. Allow to rest for 10 minutes. Poor chicken. CC Africa expeditions. That's Africa under canvas camping safaris. Look at these. Look at this light. The sunsets in South Africa are From Doomy to the security team. Last night we had great bush dinner, very, very nice one. But the hyena ran away with the leg of lamb, so the plan is to bring extra security to the bush in future. Thanks, Doomy and Lovu. Just the colors in this book. It's beautiful. Now, this is something I definitely have to try and make. Coffee and walnut cake. Oh, yeah. Yes, please. But enough of cooking and eating. I think that I can highly recommend this cooking book. Not only do you get great recipes, but you also, they take you on a tour around Africa. So definitely very happy about getting this book. And with that, I think I will just show you now my, in comparison, very boring trip to Munster. And I will see you soon, and hope that you are having nice plans for the next weeks, project-wise, that you are feeling inspired by all the things which are happening. Like, for instance, know that Martyn, who is Knit 365 blog, he has started as of yesterday his make along, the knit along and crochet along. So that started, and so many other things. So many ideas. Just look around and get inspired. And now I will say goodbye to you, and I will see you soon again, I think. Yes, I was quite distracted the last couple of weeks, but I'm sure I will pick up my hook more often in the near future. So, all the best, and see you soon. Bye.